Alright guys, Red here. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Aurora. We're going to be comparing all of its variants, seeing some of their strengths and weaknesses, and doing a little bit of a tour / review while we're at it. First off, the Aurora is the modern day descendant of the Robert Space Industries X-7 spacecraft. This was the ship that tested the very first jump engines. It's a pretty utilitarian ship and is normally considered among the starter offerings on the RSI website. Contrary to a lot of people's impression, the RSI Aurora is actually an impressive little ship for the price, and as we'll see, in terms of functionality it can usually punch well above its price point. So the variants are the Aurora CL, the ES, the LN, the LX and the MR. Let's get down to the hangar and review some ships. Okay, we're going to be starting with the RSI Aurora CL, also known as the Clipper. We're going to treat this tour as the default version of the ship, and you can then safely assume that unless I specifically mention it, all other versions are basically just a carbon copy of this. So they all have this nice open glass cockpit at the front, they all have 4 size 1 hardpoints, and they all have a size 2 missile rack. There are exceptions to that of course, but we will get to them. The description reads, "The Clipper is a ship designed for mercantile and trading excursions. The Aurora Clipper is the perfect vessel for aspiring entrepreneurs and seasoned traders alike, swapping a smaller power plant and armour capabilities for an expanded cargo capacity. The Clipper ups the ante for personal merchant craft." Now, that might be true in as far as the default loadout that comes with the ship, but the internal component sizes are all the same across all the versions, so when you upgrade them to military spec or whatever you prefer, differences in power plant capability is non-existent. In terms of armour capability, all the armour across all variants are exactly the same. That might change as CIG updates the game though, so maybe something you want to keep an eye on. So the main difference, as mentioned, with the Clipper is that it can store 6 cargo boxes, and that's compared to the usual 3 boxes that all the other variants have. Apparently the Clipper will get its own store all box when the cargo refractor comes in, so just a big container basically that will store all 6 of its cargo boxes. This will be stored underneath the ship in this rail system here, although how you will load and unload that system remains to be seen. It has 2 side doors, nice little door open and ladder animation. They all have the exact same bed and the exact same cockpit. The cockpit itself is really nice and open, apart from the spars. You can see all around and underneath you. You have a total of 6 MFDs there, and they're right in front of your face. You don't have to turn. All the information you need is available at a glance. In terms of what you'd use this particular version for though, I'm not really sure, because 6 SCU cargo isn't really enough to make you a decent amount of profit to be worth your time. Although maybe if you were smuggling or, you know, running drugs or something like that, the profit margin would be worth it. The next variant we're going to talk about is the Aurora ES, also known as Essential. This description reads, "This is the most common starter ship for new flyers across the galaxy. The Aurora ES boasts a rugged base construction along with ample room for upgrades. Each of the Aurora series is specialised in some way, but the ES is a true jack of all trades, or the enterprising pilot." Essentially what that means is, this version does absolutely nothing special in any way. It is the default version, so yeah, I don't really get the point of this one. Moving on. This one is called the Aurora LN, or the Legionnaire. This is a combat variant that has 2 size 1 hardpoints and 2 size 2 hardpoints. It also has a size 4 missile rack. As well as that, it also has the second fastest top speed. For me, this is probably the best choice. It's still got the 3 SCU cargo, And given the choice, out of all the variants, this would be the one that I would personally pick. Those size 2 hardpoints and those extra missiles just provide too much of an advantage over the other variants. Next up is the Aurora LX. The description reads, "Be proud of your roots with the brand new Aurora Deluxe, built for the discerning pilot who never forgets where he or she came from. The LX features patent leather interior to guarantee comfort for those long stretches in the deep black." In terms of visual differences, I can't really see anything apart from now the pilot's chair has a leather aesthetic. Other than that though, the main difference between this version and other ones is that this one has a higher quantum fuel capacity. This one sits at 700 compared to 583 on all other variants. The LX also has a size 3 missile rack compared to the normal size 2 usually found. Last up is the Aurora MR, also known as the Mark. Apparently this ship is primarily focused on interdiction. Its special features seem to be that it is just the fastest overall. It is the fastest combat speed, it is the fastest afterburner speed, and it has the fastest turning speed as well, but only marginally. This version was also a big favourite of mine, but I've got a feeling that that was only because it was my original starter ship. We go way back. In general terms, the Aurora is the perfect starter ship. It can do a lot of different jobs. You can do box delivery missions in there and carry on board small crates, very small cargo runs, you can log out in the bed, you can do most combat missions in it. It's good and small for getting down to bunkers and staying out of range of the laser fire. It's basically the Swiss Army knife of starting ships. It can't do big cargo runs, it can't do mining, it won't be able to do salvage, but really that's about it. Everything else, it has it covered. It can even do reasonable PvP. In terms of manoeuvrability, in atmosphere, it's not great. The shape of the ship is a brick and it flies like a brick. It's not very fast and it doesn't turn very good. If you need to turn quite tightly, and it will turn quite tightly, but you need to roll right into that turn, you know, quite hard, which isn't ideal. You could probably still have a lot of fun though, running canyons or low to the ground and stuff like that, once you get used to it and the ship starts to shine under your command. In terms of combat, it's mind-blowing how good this ship is. The footage that you're seeing in the background here is me doing high-risk targets, and that's me only using the 4 size 1 hardpoints. So with the Legionnaire and the 2 size 2, you'd be looking to do these bounties probably even faster. And I am by no means a good pilot. In terms of PvP, it's not the best, by far it's not the best. But over on Avenger 1, the Aurora comes in at a B tier, if I'm not mistaken, which for a starter ship is, you know, that's excellent. It's not quite as good as the Mustang, but it's still pretty respectable. Just going to bring up some stats here, just to see the rankings speed wise. Aurora MR, fastest combat speed. LX, second fastest. Followed by ES, LN and then CL. Afterburner speed, things change a little bit. The LN creeps up to second place. LX third, ES, CL. And you can see the pitch, yaw and roll is slightly higher for the MR, not by much, but maybe enough to give you that little extra edge if, you know, flying low to the ground doing crazy stunts or whatever. So overall, I mean, it's a pretty basic little ship. There's no toilet, there's no kitchen, there's no, you know, fancy stuff going on, but in terms of getting the jobs done, it's perfect. You couldn't ask for more. That little area of internal space, plus the bed, and the fairly reasonable weapons loadout, there's really not much to complain about. For the price it is in game, I would probably give the Aurora Legionnaire a price to performance score of 8.5 out of 10, maybe a bit higher, because it is like, it's cheap, it's really cheap. Like the lowest priced Aurora is 124,000 and the highest price is just under 500,000. LN is 338,000. So I mean, it's a no-brainer really. In terms of an upgrade path, the current state of things in the game with stealth and cooling and things like that, I generally just military grade 8 across the board, and then I don't think about it again. The only times I ever change that is if it's an eclipse or something that's decidedly stealthy and I want to try and push that envelope as much as I possibly can, then I might go for a stealth build. Everything else is just max military build. For this in particular, however, obviously you don't want a size 1 military quantum drive. You're going to want the Atlas, which is a civilian one, and that should give you enough range to at least get across the entire Stanton system, at least. And definitely be sticking with laser repeaters as well. That's all 5 variants of the Aurora and all their pros and cons. If you feel like I've missed something or would like to add something, please feel free to comment below. Before you go, if you sign up with my referral code, I will send you 100,000 in-game credits. I mean, I'm not desperate or that, but also check out the Patreon link or the t-shirt link or the link to some cool deals on flight sticks. You know, all that money making stuff. Check all that out. Remember, like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. 07 guys.